Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox, on this wonderful, cold but bright Good Friday morning. I hope you're all keeping well. We have made it towards the end of the week, which is always a good thing. Now, I've got a whole different range of stories today. There's obviously going to be quite a bit on the hate crime, because obviously with that coming in Monday, today is the last sort of chance, the next couple of days at least, are the last couple of chances we have of talking about it freely and openly. Because for people living in Scotland, it may be a crime to even criticise it. Not kidding. This is how iniquitous this law is. We are going to mock it, we're going to openly mock it, and we are going to give the police hell. Now, not the police's fault, you understand. I don't mean to incur that they deserve it, but it's got to happen in order for this bill to be shown to be how bad it is. Now, I did a short last night about Humza Yousaf worrying about some aspects of the bill, and I will do a follow-up on that later today. But we do have a piece here where senior police are very, very worried about it for a couple of reasons. And we're going to go in and have a look at that. But when even the senior police now are saying to Humza Yousaf, please, for God's sake, do something about this. It's going to cause chaos. You know it is the result of a very, very badly thought out bill by a very, very stupid man. Let's have a look at this, see what the senior police are thinking. Never mind the rank and file members. Here goes. So, Humza Yousaf's hate crime bill savaged by top cops who claim activists will weaponise the law and divert officers from serious crimes. And we've said this from day one, but of course that diversion of the police is the only way we can break this law. And that's what we must do. So day one, complain, and complain exclusively about politicians. They'll get so fed up, the politicians, well, the police we know will get so fed up, but the politicians will get so fed up being investigated that they will demand that something is done. So the Association of Scottish Police Superintendents, ASPS, has become the latest group to speak out against the controversial legislation, which has been accused of being a threat to free speech. This absolutely is. This is draconian. It's absolute sort of monolithic, single party, Big Brother is watching you state control on a massive scale, a scale you do not associate with a modern Western democracy. But of course it has to be like that because it is effectively trying to encompass everything in order to ensure that Scotland has an anti-Islamic blasphemy law. He couldn't bring that in on its own. And it's, this is the downfalls of having, I think, Islamists in positions of power in a modern Western democracy, because the two are entirely fundamental. Islam says it needs to be protected. Now, the only reason it can need to be protected from modern thinking is that it must be a very backward faith that cannot adapt and adopt and change. And it seems to be very weak like that. And that's, of course, the problem. One only has to look at the countries that have adopted it as their religion to see the problems that they have got. Because they won't and they refuse to change. So that's why they demanded this blasphemy law, so that people can't criticise them for being barbaric in some of their practices, sort of backward thinking in the way they treat, for example, gay people, women, people who disagree with their particular brand of madness. And so they need this protection. And so Humza has had a little word in his shell, like, from the guys down the mosque, and he's been told to bring this in. And it goes to show, I think, that we need to be very, very careful as to who we allow into positions of power. And we should never allow people who are culturally at odds with the vast majority of the people of a country. It's a fifth columnist, really. And one only has to see the problems with Islamists in Britain today, not just in Scotland, but all over. Maya Tusi, on his channel, talks about it a lot. And he's saying that various places are falling. People are too scared to even raise their voices and say that it's wrong. I'm not. I'm raising my voice and saying it's wrong. And I know a lot of people think it, but are too scared to say it. Now, you can't blame the Muslims. They're individuals. They're human beings. They have rights. They have, human rights. I agree. Absolutely. And I'm not criticising the Muslims. They are as much victims of Islam as everyone else. It is this system of belief, I think, that is actually the core of the problem. But anyway, that's a different video for a different day. Scotland senior cops have blasted Humza Yousaf's new hate crime law in a startling intervention that piles more pressure onto the Scottish Government. The Association of Scottish Police Superintendents have said activists could weaponise the legislation and divert officers from dealing with more serious crimes. Now, when they talk about activists weaponising it, they mean the loony left going out, deliberately looking for offence in every single thing that normal people say. And that's fine. We know that was what was always on the card. We know they were slavering. They were licking their lips with joy at the thought of this because, oh, look, we can get them. But as many people, and I've got to say, Craig Houston brought this up. And if you haven't seen his channel, go across, see Craig Houston Talks To, and hit the sub on his button. The sub on his button. The sub button on his channel as well. He talks a lot of sense. Comes from a very sort of similar direction, which way you do here on this channel. But he's more sort of analytical about it, whereas I do sort of the hot takes and do the immediate reactions and say the words that some people want to say but can't, which is often the case. And certainly from Monday will definitely be the case. But he was saying as well that these people who sit there, these righteous lefty liberals who think that they can do no wrong, will be the ones who suffer most from this because they won't be able to help themselves with what they're saying. And what they say is often pure hate speech. Whereas we, the normies, the people who just get on with their daily lives, we can weaponise it as well. But we weaponise it in a different way. We're not going out there looking for hate left, right and centre. We are going to mock this iniquitous piece of legislation and throw it straight back at the very politicians who brought it in. And so go, that's hate speech, but only of the politicians. And that's the way we win. Anyway, fears have been raised that the hate crime bill will criminalise free speech across the country, which it will, when you cannot say, speak, write, have a conversation within your own home. You've got to be recording everything, I suppose. Is that how we're going to have a world now where you have to record everything? Like Watergate, make sure you get the tapes. And it will lead to convictions over spurious complaints. Scots in their own home can be targeted and reported, as well as comedians and actors who perform in allegedly offensive plays. Wait till they see Othello. Now, ASPS have hit out at the legislation as well, pointing out that already hard-pressed cops will need to deal with abusive spats online, which will take them away from dealing with real crimes. Although they're not dealing with real crimes generally, are they? And we've seen how many real crimes they don't deal with on that list revealed the other day. Arson, for example, stealing, shoplifting, fraud. Full stop, exclamation mark, looking at Michael Matheson. Looking, of course, at the SNP generally, with 600,000 going missing. Apparently not a crime. Anyway, the ASPS is a staff association managed by serving superintendents and chief superintendents, the most senior rank below assistant chief constables, because the chief constables, assistant chief constables, and deputy chief constables, and including the commissioner of the Metropolitan Police, all have their own separate association, and then the rank and file inspectors and below basically have their own organisation. So it seems to be a three-tiered police organisation ranking thing. But I suppose the problems are different. Rank and file, you're going to be dealing with people, dealing with crimes, doing the investigation, etc. Once you get to the rank of sort of superintendent, chief superintendent, it's more managerial, isn't it? It's not really out there doing crime, as it were. Anyway, the president of the association, Rob Hay, wrote a bombshell letter to Holyrood's Criminal Justice Committee where he tore apart the law. He said there's certainly enough anger and hateful bile online to occupy every police officer in Scotland. The extent to which society will tolerate or expect the police to be drawn into adjudicating ill-tempered, abusive spats online is a matter for wider debate. Not at the moment, there's Rob May, the thing. Not at the moment. At the moment, and according to the law, every single offence must be investigated. So if someone, for example, if one of the Nats in my comments says something that I find harmful. Oh, look, it's me. thick skin, right? Oh, but I'm tender. I feel so. Oh, I felt he was oppressing me. I felt that was hate speech, and I could record it. I could send it off to Police Scotland, and they'd have to investigate it. Madness, as opposed to what I normally do, mock them, or if it is actually genuinely offensive, and just delete that message and send them off. They get the ban hammer. They're not allowed to talk again. That's what you do. You know, I don't mind criticism. If someone says that they disagree with what I say, fine. If someone comes on and said, well, you said this and I disagree with that because, that's fine. That's a fundamental disagreement. I'm happy for that. I don't care. You are entitled to disagree. But the moment you get abusive, I don't go running off to mummy. I just go, give you something back. Or if it's particularly bad, I just ban you. There you go. And I have that power. It's my channel. Do what I like. Don't like it? Tough. That's how you do it. But I certainly don't go off and go to the police, right? Because I'm not a 9-year-old girl. Put it that way. I'm sorry, any 9-year-old girls who watch this channel. What the hell are you doing watching this channel? Get out. Anyway. Mr. Hay added, I got lost there. That's the trouble when you do asides, isn't it? Anyway, Mr. Hay added, we have a concern that individuals who could be described as being activist fringe of particular viewpoints will seek to weaponise the new legislation and associated police investigations. Individuals who come into contact with the police in these circumstances, where their views expressed have been offensive to some but are nonetheless non-criminal, may feel aggrieved by this process and lose trust in the police. Further, the initial complaint may have been made in good faith by someone who is genuinely offended, but fails to understand the threshold for a criminal offence, having had high expectations of the new legislation. When they are told the police will be taking no further action, they may feel aggrieved by this process and again lose trust in the police. And he's quite right. And it's all over. It's just a terrible, terrible law designed by an absolute moron. And worse, a racist, anti-Scottish, anti-white moron. Coming up. So there we go. It's a law that we can use to our advantage. The police hate it, but the police know they're going to get overworked to begin with. And we have a 3-day countdown because 1 minute past midnight, Monday morning, the law's active. And from that point forward, we must constantly monitor everything that these people say. Humza Yousaf, definitely. But others around him, his little coterie. And you've got the usual suspects, haven't you? Shona, Angus. You've got Groceria. You've got the imp, Jeffrey, Maggot Chapman. She's always doing it. Every time they say anything, jump on it. Report. Don't worry about the guy on the street. Don't worry about, don't worry about them. They're not the target. Politicians are the target. And with luck, we can have them hoist with their own petard. There we go. What a way to start Friday morning. Do hit that subscribe button. Ring that bell. Leave a like. Leave a comment. Please share the video. And I will speak to you later. Bye.